we're back with Joy Chapman. This time around, we're doing Could Have Been Yes. Bit of a happier, sort of up-tempo country tune. Obviously inspired by some of the tribute work that you've been doing. And we know that from your past with other songs and everything, they tend to do, the subject matter is usually based on relationships.
Yeah, usually they are, but this time not so much.
There was a big butt in there.
I hope not too big a butt. I'm trying to shrink. It's getting hard with age.
So yeah, let's get the lowdown on this one, and let's start from the beginning. I guess like when inspired, Could Have Been Yes.
Well, it would have been one of those interesting times where I think I was probably laying in bed at night or just waking up in the morning and thinking about things. And I think of different kinds of happenings with relationships or different interesting perspectives. And I just remember thinking about people and stories and movies where, it's all about, you see this guy that's always kind of watching you and looking at you, or in the grocery store, and you just run into each other all the time, and you can kind of tell that he wants to ask you out, but he never comes over and talks to you or approaches you. And it's like it was just a thing that came to my mind. Well, you just don't know. It could have been yes. What's the worst that could happen? And a lot of people have, critics reviewed my work and things and put in about how it's a story about what could have been, and the object, showing the object of your affection, what they're missing later on. And it can be all of these things. There's a lot of twists in this song because it really, for me, it encompasses all of life, right down to, I put it down to the hockey analogy with my son played goal. And they used to have that saying, 100% of the shots that you don't make on net don't get in. I mean, so if you don't take that shot and you don't try, you don't know, and it could have been yes. So it's my mantra for life right now, and especially with writing music, because the more you know about the music field, the more it's like, oh boy, get a tough skin and get used to rejection. If you thought being a guy was bad and trying to approach a girl was rejection, try being a musician. Worse yet, a songwriter.
But with songwriting, it goes hand in hand. You're quite the storyteller with all your music and everything as well. It's pretty apparent, especially when they listen to all your tracks. Everything just has this sort of throwback element that's missing from music these days. And I know that's actually something that, especially with that a lot of people complain about, especially stuff that's being played on the radio that's called new country, or considered the new standard. They don't really go in depth into anything of subject matter these days, unless it has to do with all your regular...
Another drinking song, just what we needed.
Yes.
Because there's not enough of those. Or that you're a redneck, or the dirt road, or, yeah.
Yeah, there's a short list of them, and you have to basically mention pickup trucks, dirt roads, and so on and so forth. And then it's considered a country song, but it doesn't even sound like country anymore. But I think that's where a lot of this stuff kind of has that element to it. And that's sort of where I kind of want to go in this direction now, because I know we've broken down the song quite a bit and into where the inspiration is. I know that some of your tribute work was hugely inspired by it, especially your approach.
Yeah, and this one, it was funny because I wasn't intentional about, on any of the songs, bringing in any of the tribute work that I did. Some songs just kind of exuded that personality, I guess, so it just eked in whether I wanted it to or not. One song I know that we're going to review eventually, and it sounds more like Dolly, and I'm like, I listened to it at first and I went, I got to pull back the Dolly voice, and I went back to the producer, okay, and I was trying so hard to pull back the Dolly, and I'm like, it just, the dolly kept coming through. So it didn't matter how many takes. I mean, I really tried to pull back on it. I did my best, but yeah, you can definitely hear a bit of a dolly element in it. This one, the Shania definitely came through. Yeah, it kind of had that bit of sexed up appeal to it. I remember the producer and the other guy going, okay, we've never actually got this turned on, actually listening to somebody sing. It was kind of funny. They're going, yeah, okay, we're horny now.
Well, having a sultry voice doesn't help either, so like, you really dialed it up, and yes, you can definitely hear that influence in there, and like I mentioned earlier, a lot of it just, I guess, comes from that tribute work, because you play Shania from time to time as well. A lot with like other artists, including Dolly, as you mentioned, and who else?
Cher. That one's definitely got lots of lots of sex appeal in it. Yeah, Anne Murray, not quite as much. That's a little bit more low key. But we have Reba and let's see. I even do males, but that won't do much for.
No, let's just stick to the female.
So yeah, it was mostly Patsy Cline. That was a huge one. I really enjoyed doing Patsy's stuff because, again, it was a lot of stories and just funny things, and that's what I appreciated about Shania's writing as well, as it's got a lot of humor, which, funny enough, happens to be my sense of humor as well. So when you're, whose bed have your boots been under, and that don't impress me much, and all these different things, Any Man of Mine, and Honey, I'm Home, because it kind of falls into that could have been yes. And so I know a lot of people thought it was, they listened to it and they're like, oh, is that a Shania song? Oh, I didn't know Shania had that song out. Oh, that's a really good Shania song. And I'm like, no, that was mine. So, but it happened a lot with that particular song. So,
and it's probably going to happen a lot more now that your music is being released as well.
Yeah. People pick up the elements, or some songs they pick up the bit of that Cher. I know I keep having to, everybody's like, pull back the Cher, because that just kind of slips in with a lot of things, because I guess I put the Cher voice on too easily, so that one just kind of slides right in there. And yeah, it's this one, it's just a lot of fun. We did the music video a week or so ago, and we went back the next week, and everybody's like, we can't get that song out of our heads. And then the band that was there hadn't ever really played it, but two of the guys had listened to me doing it, and they're just like, so I just started singing it a cappella, and they all kind of kicked in, and we did a rough version of it, but it was just, they were so excited, yeah, and so everybody's just dancing, could have been, yes. And that was always the vision I had for that song, was about everybody just singing that, like when you're in a club, on a dance floor, or anywhere, and it comes on, it's like, yeah, could have been, yes. And just everybody, and like I said, it's really the mantra through life right now for me is, well, if I don't ask and don't knock on the doors, I won't know, and yeah, chances are I'm going to get a lot of rejection, but I don't know, and somebody's going to say yes, I hope.
So that is the takeaway then.
Yeah, you don't know if you're not brave enough to ask, and that's the whole purpose of that song. So it's not only just the relationship part of it, which you can take into it, but I want everybody to kind of get that in life too, and just go, yeah, if I don't ask, I'm not going to know. And really, what's the worst that people can do? Yeah, the no is hard. I'm not going to say it's not. And whenever anybody writes me nasty messages, and so don't do it. It's not nice being keyboard bullies, by the way. It still hurts. If you don't have something nice to say, remember the golden rule. Don't say it. Just, and musicians have a hard enough life, so lots of encouragement. That's always going to be my mantra, too. Keep encouraging us. we have little spirits, you know, and we need all the love we can get, because we're putting out a lot of money and our heart and soul on the line, and we don't get a lot back. So the least you guys can do is hit like and subscribe. I'll put that little punch in there. we actually have little things now for my boobs, so we have like, subscribe, and I'm an easy button, you know. So when you see that one coming up, it's just a friendly reminder, hit like and subscribe, don't be a boob. You know, I'm easy. Not that easy, but
Here, getting sidetracked here.
Yeah, that's my humor. Get used to it.
Time or two, couple of bars, some restaurants too. I see you watch from the corner of your eye. What's stopping you from talking to me? Could have been yes for the rest of your life. A couple of kids, a real fine wife. Could have been yes to a one-night stand with fashion to another land. Oh, it could have been growing strong, someone there when life goes wrong, but you never know. Could have been yes. What is it you're so afraid to lose? The worst is that your ego's bruised, but life's about taking chances. Winners don't look back. Well, maybe I'd be your dream come true, the only girl that mean that much to you. It could have made history change if you'd only had the courage to ask me. Could have been yes for the rest of your life. A couple of kids, a real fine wife. Could have been yes to a one-night stand with fashion to another land. Oh, it could have been yes to friendship growing strong, someone there when life goes wrong, but you'll never know. Could have been yes. Could have been yes for the rest of your life. A couple of kids, a real fine wife. Could have been yes to a one-night stand with fashion to another land. Oh, it could have been yes to friendship growing strong, someone there when life goes wrong, but you never know. Could have been yes. Could have been yes, but you'll never know. Could have been yes. Wish you would ask me. Could have been yes. This is what you're missing.